Competition is an epically good thing for consumers, and XGIMI have done it again. Projectors, or projection picture quality at home, has forever been this big inconvenience for that huge image glory. Often picture quality being worse than what we would see from a TV for huge amounts more money. But I think in the last 3 or 4 years that has massively changed. Projector picture quality has got really amazing for much more real world prices, and in some instances you just can't beat a projector, or a good projector, such as the one I'm going to talk to you about in this video review, the brand new XGIMI Aura 2. And the Aura 2 is a brand new ultra short throw projector, or laser TV, I think some people might call it, and it's nothing like any other UST projector you will see on the market today. That is because, in my view, XGIMI know their audience, and rather than make another rectangle box, they have designed something totally different that's very eye-catching and very homely rather than very cinema-y. And I bet it catches different eyes as a result. If past experience is anything to go by, looking back at my review last year of XGIMI's Horizon Ultra projector that over 100,000 of you have watched. And you can see straight away a continued design language with the Aura 2. I think it's XGIMI's unique way of carving out their own space in a very crowded projector market. And I can't help but like it. I can't help but like that cream and gold colour scheme. I mean, I even put on a shirt to colour match with the projector. You know, all jokes aside, being serious for a second, it is a really lovely thing. The materials that XGIMI use, they just feel really nice in your hands, and it just looks nice. It looks, you know, very homely, as I mentioned. It has like an extra touch of class about its visual appearance. And some of you will definitely know all about the Horizon Ultra's party trick, where the material cover slides down to expose the projector's lens. Super cool stuff. Well, guess what? XGIMI have done it again. But this time, it doesn't only slide, it raises and slides, reminiscent of a soft top car. And yes, of course, the novelty of this very cool sliding lid will wear off very quickly. But actually, when I think about it, the fact that it closes over the lid when you're not using it means it will help to keep dust off of your lens. So I think it's a win for the form and a win for the function. And while I'm talking about function, it would be great to dive straight into talking about the Aura 2's picture quality, because it's pretty insane. But I actually want to start this review talking about its sound quality, because it's massively exceeded my expectations for the sound quality it can deliver as a projector. Because this is not a soundbar, and yet it has 4 15-watt speakers built in that are Harman Kardon branded. And with the stock menu settings, I found the sound to be pretty good for what it is. It sounded loud and clear, with maybe a little stereo effect going on. However, if you go into the menu, disable a couple of things, enable Dolby Atmos sound with the movie sound mode, now all of a sudden, the whole sound that the Aura 2 produces becomes far more expansive, about double as expansive, and then it creates really quite an immersive experience, minus maybe thunder and deep bass. The rest of the sound is really expansive and very clear and very loud, and much better than it has any right to be. Again, being a projector, it's not a soundbar. So the sound, massively exceeded my expectations, which is why I, wanted to get this, at the beginning of the review, so you didn't miss it in case it's important to you. But of course, picture quality is going to matter more to more people, as is the feature set and specs. And I'm super happy to report the Aura 2 does nearly everything HDR, such as HDR10, HLG, Dolby Vision, and IMAX Enhanced. And I think the only one missing here is HDR10+. But having Dolby Vision support is a massive one for me, especially as it looks next level amazing on this projector. And I will tell you more about the picture quality, of course. But at the end of the video, I'll give you a tip of how I found a way to get better Dolby Vision picture quality out of the Aura 2, and it will probably work with other Dolby Vision projectors as well. So stick around for that. XGIMI take a very different approach to the design of the light engines of their projectors. And often we see manufacturers use either a single laser or a triple laser design, an RGB laser design. But XGIMI use what they call Dual Light, which is a combination of LED and laser. And they claim it gives the best balance of picture quality performance while still being easy to watch, more easy on the eye. And I've had mixed feelings about this, and I think I've always preferred the look or the picture quality of triple laser design projectors. But what's interesting is with the Aura 2 is that Dual Light is now in its 2.0, like the second version. And I think it's now so close, so close to the best light engines I've seen from triple laser designs, like nitpicking of differences. So that's really important because it means there's no sacrifice to picture quality, there's no sacrifice to format compatibility, for having this very lovely form factor with that super cool sliding lid. So that's really important, I think, to stress about this product. But of course, that technology does come with a price tag. And the price tag is $2,699. So that is a chunk of money, but it's far from crazy expensive given what this projector can do. And it's actually very price comparable with other UST projectors on the market with a similar specification. But I actually think the Aura 2 is better in a lot of ways than a lot of the UST projectors I've seen. So that is really, really interesting. And it's definitely better than the original Aura that I reviewed last year, but it also costs a chunk of money more. But I don't think it's fair to compare the Aura 1 to the Aura 2 because the Aura 2 is a whole new level of projector for everything really. And it's in a new price tier as a result. And one major change or improvement with the Aura 2 that's not really a headline feature, but is something that I think will be really important to people in like a real world situation is that they've changed the lens throw ratio, which means you can create the same size of image with the projector being closer to the screen. So when I think about real world situations of somebody trying to put this UST projector onto some kind of TV rack or furniture or something where space is often limited, being able to get that projector closer to the wall or closer to the screen for that still getting that massive image, of course, is going to be a real advantage. The Aura 2 can produce up to 150-inch screen size, and that is a huge image. But I had to slum it with a measly 120-inch screen. I actually think 120-inch or below will be the sweet spot screen size for this projector, given its 2300 ISO lumens brightness, which was easily enough for my 120-inch Nothing Black Series ALR screen. But I did also have the Aura 2 on its maximum brightness all of the time. Well, not quite. It does have a performance mode where for a short period of time, you can run the projector even brighter. But the fan comes on at its maximum. I think it makes a hell of a lot more noise because normally it's really quite a quiet projector. So when that fan goes on in kind of turbo mode, it's like, wow, this is now very noisy. But it creates a brighter image and it shows you why projector brightness is an important thing. So while it's cool to be able to do this and to be able to see, the maximum performance the projector can do, it does leave you kind of wanting that picture quality all of the time. So in a way, I feel like maybe it's better to never see it because then you never know what you might be missing. Let's talk very specifically about the Aura 2's picture quality. And once I had all of the settings really dialed in, that did take me some time. I really put a lot of effort in. And I actually think I had the Aura 2 as best set up or better calibrated for its projector image than any other projector I've had in here before. It's been looking pretty damn immense. Starting with Dolby Vision from 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, being played back from the epically good Zidu UHD 8000 media player. Every disc I tested looked amazing. Furiosa, for example, looked incredible. From the murky, sandy, shot on film, grainy look to the crazy contrast, bright and punchy battle scenes, you don't miss a single thing with this projector. And it's amazing how well all of this action is put together in the movie, and it's amazing how well reproduced it is by the Aura 2. I would go as far as to say it's almost perfect. Then something totally different, like Star is Born, where the movie is a real journey of emotion experienced through the music and the very different visual looks that you can really appreciate with the Aura 2 because of its picture accuracy capability. From the high brightness, high energy dynamic concert feel to the very commercial or corporate studio scenes where everything looks clean cut, then to the gritty, emotional tearjerker ending. This movie tests the projector's ability to deliver high contrast scenes and how much brightness punch it can deliver for its highlights, all at the same time. And the Aura 2 takes it all in its stride, as you can hopefully see it just a little bit from the recorded clips I am showing you. Aquaman is the kind of movie that looks amazing on anything, but it takes a very good display for it to look this good. And this is where I think the Dolby Vision tone mapping really benefits the projector, as we can have crazy bright scenes with strong contrast and colour with no blown out areas on the screen that I always find really distracting, and it's something that can plague projection and ruin the illusion of looking through the giant window. So I have absolutely no complaints at all about how Aquaman is looking from the Aura 2. It's absolutely amazing. A fantastic test of the Aura 2's ability to push brightness without clipping the highlights is with The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies. Say what you want about the movie, it's a real visual spectacle when you see it on a projector this good, because the washed out teal and orange look they have gone for in the final scenes looks amazing, with all of the hazy snow creating a cold bleak atmosphere, and there is an insane amount of picture detail on offer here from this projector. It's marvellous to sit and watch. I don't have any other words for it. And it makes you want to watch the whole 9+ hours of the trilogy all over again just to experience it looking like this. What about HDR10 content such as Pacific Rim? Yes, this is another movie that looks great on every display, but not always this great. The Aura 2 could produce an amazing mixture of blacks and brightness with crazy rich colours, all clearly and cleanly delivered with fantastic detail and clarity that opens up genuine depth to the image where it almost looks three-dimensional. And I've seen this movie well over 100 times on all different types of displays, and seeing it on the Aura 2 left me wanting for nothing more. Something a little different might be Passengers, where you have a real mixture of skin tones surrounded at times by bright neon lights, or really moody in-space high contrast scenes, all created by man. Of course, there's nothing organic here. And the Aura 2 takes it all in its stride, and nothing here seems to bother it or catch it out. It's again a spectacular presentation of this movie with huge amounts of contrast and colour, as I hope you can see just a little bit from the recorded clips I'm showing you, even though of course they're not going to be 100% the same as in the flesh. And yes, of course we can nitpick the image, but it doesn't really leave us wanting more. It looks great. But what about movement or motion? Because that can sometimes be a difficulty for projectors, maybe older ones, but not with the Aura 2. Now there is MEMC or movement compensation options in the menu, which introduces soap opera effect for movies, so I hate those modes. I don't turn those on ever. I really don't think you need them at all with the Aura 2, as hopefully I can show you. And you can test motion in 100 different ways. So I decided to show you some of the first Kingsman movie, as I truly adore these movies, especially the cinematography for the crazy fast action scenes. And the in the pub fight scene from the first movie is really iconic because it's gloriously well produced and funny, and the Aura 2 delivered every micro cinematic detail. So you, the viewer, don't miss a single thing here with the crazy good effects and stunts. It's again perfectly delivered in my opinion. Seriously awesome stuff. And I could go on and on. I could show you every single disc that's on my Zidu poster wall, and they would all look amazing in their own cinematic way. But what about the built-in streaming or the smart aspect of the Aura too. And I was very surprised to see XGIMI have chosen to use the Android TV operating system and not Google TV that we've been seeing more recently with newer projectors being released. And I have to say, because I am an Apple user, I find it easier to use Google TV because just using my phone, I can set up the projector and it automatically installs and logs me into every single one of the apps that I have on my phone, all the ones that I use. However, after everything was all set up, I have to say once the Aura 2 has been on for about a minute, seemingly loading everything into its RAM, the user experience is the best I have seen so far from a streaming projector for the speediness and snappiness of everything. And even if you're streaming 4K content, 60 frames per second, the menu system stays just as snappy, just as good to use. And this is the first time that I've experienced that from a smart projector. Normally there's a massive bog down in the menu system when you're streaming content. So the Aura 2 is the first one to not do that. And I think that's really fantastic for user experience. And the streaming picture quality from Android TV apps, I have mixed feelings about, but in the main, it was very good for streaming. Disney Plus looked particularly good with bright and colourful movies like Encanto, Elementals and Luca, all in Dolby Vision. Even though with Luca there is some weird colour things going on, but I blame Disney for that as it's isolated to this app. And it is interesting looking at the picture quality of these streamed movies because it's still gorgeous, but I did want to change the picture settings, the brightness, contrast and color saturation specific for streaming to be different to the external source that is the Zidu media player. And you can. There are independent picture calibration controls and that is fantastic, although it took me some time to realize this. So hopefully this might save you some time. And one very cool thing about the menus is there is very obviously different picture settings for SDR and HDR, and you get a logo come up in the corner for HDR, and Dolby Vision has totally separate settings in the menu. And you are not permitted to access the picture settings for the formats that you are not watching. So you cannot change the wrong settings by mistake. And with Android TV, I could enjoy most of my favourite streaming apps, but there is no native support for Netflix. You may then still want to use an external streaming solution like an Apple TV box, and that does feel quite frustrating because you have such a good quality streaming platform, so snappy, so good with the Aura 2, to have to then use an external solution just for Netflix does feel frustrating. Now, I'm sure there probably are workarounds, but when an app runs natively, you normally get the best experience. So while this is not the end of the world, it is a little frustrating. SDR picture quality streamed from YouTube looked superb to me, and I checked out lots of my own content as of course I know how that was created, but the quality of content from YouTube overall I think was excellent. HDR content on YouTube, looking at some of the classic videos we all go to, I think look pretty damn fantastic for colours, brightness, image pop and more. I definitely could nitpick the HDR picture here for black levels and contrast, but at the same time, it didn't really leave me wanting much more either. I think YouTube, considering it's YouTube, looks amazing on the Aura 2, channel dependent of course, but again, the picture quality is and can be fantastic. Can I think of any main or major negatives for the picture quality? Not really. I could nitpick things like black levels, of course that could be better, and I could nitpick the contrast, of course that could be better. Those are always the projector picture quality fights, and you can spend a hell of a lot more money to get, incremental improvements in those areas, but of course those could both be better if, being brutally honest, but really I feel like I'm getting into kind of nitpicking here, because when you sit and watch content, all sorts of content, I feel like the Aura 2 is putting you there. It's like putting you very, very, very close to what's possible in the real world for more realistic real world money. Like it leaves you not really wanting much more. And that is a very, very impressive thing from such a lovely, lovely looking form factor that's so fantastic to use. And that is why I said at the start of the video, competition is epically good for consumers because it forces manufacturers to give us more, to do more when the market is really very crowded. And I really don't think XGIMI could have done that much more with the Aura 2. It's an absolutely cracking piece of kit. For that tip I promised you, to get a better Dolby picture experience, I found selecting the screen size to be 150 inches, even though I was only using 120, made the image look a little more punchy on the screen, just a little bit. And then using the screen gain, I managed the look, or really the gamma, and this makes a subtle difference, but I found 0.6 was just about the right balance. And this little tweak gave the Dolby Vision picture just that little bit of extra special quality. And sometimes it's those little bits of extra special quality that can make all of the difference, especially when they're free. So maybe this will work on other Dolby Vision projectors. I'll definitely be trying it in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing for more.